Hey everyone, it's Tiqqle, and in this video we're going to go through a commentary for one match that I played recently with LSD, Ellie, Demo, our Druid, against one of our most challenging comps, which is Shadow Priest, Destruction Warlock, our Shaman, which is a pretty sick comp right now, especially for pushing rating, getting up to 2200 pretty quickly. It's very tough for us as this comp to beat this team. In general, I've always had trouble going against this team. There have been some people that have given me some tips, and I'll walk through what those tips have been. Thank you to Pifsors, to Dope Friend for your help there, for how to handle this strategy, because it's been very tough for us the entire season to fight this team with Boomkin Ellie and other Ellie comps. Double caster cleaves against this is tough, and I'll explain why. Let's start getting into it. Basically, we're starting off. I am going to be playing away from my healer. Playing with a Resto Druid, I can kind of run off over on the side here on this left pillar, and my team can be on a different pillar. It spreads us out in case of mind bombs, and it allows me to kind of maintain myself. So that's kind of a strategy that we're putting into play, where I'm going to be really responsible for self-healing. Now, something to note, I am doing this as a kind of commentary, and I took Elemental Blast on accident because I was PvPing before this, so I am actually getting less Lava Burst procs than I should be. I am going Cap Stun and all that, but let's get into it, and I'll start kind of walking you through. Basically, what we're doing now and how we started the game was, let's go on whatever target we can. Let's just start pumping some damage. Let's keep that pet dotted up. They're pushing in the, they're kind of sitting at their pillar. The healer's staying way in the back. It's okay. I'm playing off on this side pillar. My goal is interrupt VTs and start hitting targets without Earth Shield. Now, I don't do it at the very beginning here, and that's why we don't really make any progress at the beginning, is we're hitting into targets with Earth Shield. But there's a turning point in the game where we stop doing just PvE wizard battle, and we start pushing in, and we start targeting very specifically on who does not have Earth Shield. Like right now, for example, I'm on the Priest. Priest actually does have Earth Shield at this point. So again, you can see me over here. I'm just lining and healing myself. With Swelling Waves, the Shaman can pretty much keep himself up. I don't use mana for anything else other than purging, and so I usually do have a lot of mana. Now, purging is actually really, really important, and that's because, I'll pause. Purging's super important for this comp, and I'm the only one that can do it on this team, other than maybe the Lock with his Fell Hunter. But it's super important against a Destro Warlock with Spell Reflect, because if we get a CC set up and we start to push in on that Warlock, if the Warlock doesn't have Earth Shield, if he just Spell Reflects, he'll counter all of our damage. He'll just counter Falciols, he'll counter Ice Fury. So I need to be watching that. I need to keep my eye right here on his buffs. I need to be ready to purge that thing off ASAP. I am the only one that can save our burst in that case. So every time what I usually do is, whenever we get the setups, I usually do one cast and then I wait a second and just see, because he will pop that Reflect. I need to purge that off immediately. It gives the window to my Demo Lock. Now, my Demo Lock obviously has pets doing a lot of damage as well, but I'm the one, it's up to me. The other thing that's up to me is interrupts. So my partner, Surlator, Thunderbud, has interrupts with his pets, but it's really on me to stop outcoming damage. Now, what does that mean? From a Shadow Priest, that means VTs. I'm pretty much this entire game going to kick as many VTs as I can. I'm going to be picking Fears from the Destro Warlock, sometimes Chaos Bolts, but really we have to do a good job of lining that. We also have to line the VTs, and then sometimes heals, and that's what you'll see me do. But purges are critical, and there's purges coming up as we are going to be switching targets. We're hitting into an Earth Shield right now. It's not a good idea. You can tell I'm hitting him, and it's barely chunking his health. 600Ks here don't do anything when the Earth Shield, because what happens is when you hit into an Earth Shield and it's over a certain amount, it'll take one of the stacks away, and it will heal the target. Not only is it reducing the damage incoming, it is also giving them a heal. So it's countering your damage. You're basically doing 50% reduced damage, and that's how you should mentally think about hitting into Earth Shields as an LA Shaman. Don't do it. You're doing 50% reduced. Now, is it really 50? Probably not. But just do that and it will help. As you can see here, how they're lined up, the healer's in the way back, going to be just a healing battery pack. We have Chaos Bolts coming out in the middle position, far range, and then we have the Shadow Priest who's trying to keep dot pressure up. You can see we're all VT'd, which is really bad, and he's just way out with Earth Shield on. So, you know, at the beginning of the game, we don't really do a great job of pressuring in on them, but you can see here, we're starting to hit this lock. We're starting to hit the lock. He's kind of just running back. He can run 6 feet back, and we can't hit him anymore. So we're kind of in this position doing the wizard battle. We are forced to be focusing the priest because the priest is the only thing out. Otherwise, he's just going to keep VTs up. What's the point? I actually make a mistake here, and I take the eye, which actually increases damage by 5%, but it is what it is. I'm now going to be using this pillar to line of sight. Now, Destro Warlocks have a lot of long casts, so I should be able to use this line of sight really well. I probably moved too much, but it's still just worth noting. That's why I'm up here, and my buddies, you can see on the map, are a little bit farther back. Now, I'm blasting this Warlock. This Warlock, without Earth Shield, I just used Stormkeeper, and I just ripped his health down. He was about 50%. He then pops the Reflect, and I instantly purge it off. This is 1 global after. You can see in the top left, I used Purge to get that off. That is critical, especially if my buddy Surlator is about to come in with the damage. So we're kind of pressuring him. We're watching who has Earth Shield. It's still on the Spriest. I usually have Spriest focus so I can interrupt those vampiric touches. Why do I do that? Well, vampiric touch, just as recap, it does a ton of damage. It applies 2 dots to the target that, if they're dispelled, will fear the healer, but it also does healing for the S-Priest, which makes actually an S-Priest one of the more tanky healers. Now, Destruction Warlocks has something similar with a passive shield generation based on their damage and based on just 1% every few seconds, but VTs do a ton of pressure, and as you can see in the damage charts here, we have Surlator and I doing 200k. The Destro Warlock, when he can get an opening to do damage, he'll do big bursts. S-Priest is rocking 340 DPS. We need to stop that by lining that damage. But again, they're pushing in on us here, actually, which I think is an error, because we're actually falling behind with how we were set up. I put a cap stun totem right on the edge. What we're trying to do now is we're trying to get some CC setups. And what I mean by that is not really a normal setup. What we're trying to do is we're trying to stun that Resto Shaman so that we can get either a clone or a Hex. Now, Hexes are pretty nasty if I can actually get them out, because there's no way he can get out. The Shadow Priest can mass dispel clones, which will get his healer out if necessary. But Hexes, they got nothing. They got nada. So let's go ahead and we're going to put it forward. You can see we don't have any VTs right now. I just put the stun totem on the corner. I don't know why they pushed up to us, but this was a good opportunity to get all 3 of them stunned. The healer gets out of the stun, unfortunately, but it was enough to stun some of the DPS to start putting some pressure. When they stack up behind a pillar, as an elemental shaman, this is what I love. This is what I want. I want Stormkeepers. I want to make sure that my Flame Shocks are up, and then I want to start chain lightninging the hell out of them. If all 3 are stacked, drop an Earthquake. Very powerful, a lot of pressure, a lot of damage. Earthquakes, the best part about Earthquake is, yeah, sure, it's a little bit of spread pressure. Best part is the stun. If they get stunned, I believe I don't actually know the full duration right now. I think it's like 1 second. They're literally on their back for 1 second. Usually, sometimes it can interrupt a cast bolt, a VT, something like that. It's really very, very powerful. So the other thing I'm doing, and it's very subtle, and I've been coached on this by Dope Friend, is keeping Earthbind. You can see Earthbind here is Shift 3. Not a great keybind, but basically that always has to be down because it's a passive slow that messes up their ability to get into position. It messes up their ability to chase us if necessary. So I'm using that on cooldown to make sure that is down. Where is it right now? I think it's over here on the corner. I dropped it. But so our goal right now in this image is we are now, as you can see on the top right, Tiber is now behind us. He's over here where I used to be. We're now pushing up, splitting up a little bit from each other so we can't get double mind bombed if he's running that. I dropped the stun totem to try to get the stun into Hex to secure that, but the stun does not go off on the healer. And now what you're going to see is Tiber and I are both going to go into CC the healer. I'm going to go for the Hex. He's going to go for the clone. And it's actually crazy because they do an incredible job of peeling us off. Let's see it. You'll see it now. We're going in, and then this is the window where I'm about to start hexing. Tiber's running around to start the clone. The cast bolt's coming off, and we're going in, and I get interrupted. He uses his pet interrupt to interrupt my hex. It was about to go down on the Resto Shaman, who was stunned by our Demo Warlock. He was getting stunned into a hex. My hex was interrupted, and actually they also interrupted Tiber's clone at the same exact time. He was silenced. So it's kind of, it was a super, super good. He got sheared, actually. That's what happened to Tiber, now that I remember. So he got sheared. I got lock interrupted during a stun. Great peel job by that team. We really went in with everything to stun and get that setup CC, and we weren't able to get it. The healer just jets out of there as the Fell Lord comes down. Great job peeling. It was an impressive move by the other team. They just saved themselves. And I think it's at this point that they realize, why are we in here so deep? They have the defenses. We should not be here. He puts up a new demon gate. He's like, let's get out of here, Dad. I put down the earthquake on the corner. What you're going to see from me a lot is putting down earthquakes on corners or on entire sides, so that if they come to peek out to CC me, I'm able to just line up some damage on them. Now, Chain Lightning is actually super good of cleaving too, because what it does, more than just the damage, it pads a little bit, but what it mostly does is it generates Maelstrom. Now, Maelstrom can be used for a lot of different things, Earth Shock, or, well, not a lot, Earthquake or Earth Shock. So Earth Shock is super important for stunning, and the stuns can help get set up, so you can stun into pet stun, or you could pet stun into Earth Shock stun with no DR differences, so it's super powerful. Now what you're going to see is the enemy team was in deep. They just used all their abilities to peel us off. They have 2 VTs up, shame on us, but now they're trying to get out. They're trying to back up, reset the game. They were doing fine in the beginning, and now we're starting to bring the heat, and that's mostly through our CCs. So now you can see the Tiber CC, the Destro, just to reduce some pressure. The Priest is trying to run out. Priest has Earth Shield, as you can see, and we're trying to line up some damage. You can see that the healer's even at 65%. We will opt to, and this is really where things turn around, where we're saying, okay, we need to start bringing the heat. We need to start putting that onto whoever doesn't have the Earth Shield. And if we can, let's blast that healer down. Let's do a ton of damage to him, because that's going to make him have to deal with not only 2 targets to keep up, but himself as well, and start to burn through his personal cooldowns. Because if you get a healer scared and his buddies aren't there to peel for him, he's going to have to use his defensives, and sometimes his defensives, like Ascendance or Earth Shield, these are things that he can't use on his buddies anymore. So we need to burn that through, and just by doing all the damage possible. So let's keep going. They're backing up to their pillar. The healer's exposed. There's Reflect. There's Reflect. I have to get it off. It took me. You can see that was after my first ability. As soon as I saw it, to get that puppy off. And now we're going back in. Another huge thing, as you can see it coming out now, is the Siphene. Siphenes, let me explain to you why they do so much damage. Number one, if you're in line of sight of them, you could be where I am, which is really close to the Siphene, or you can be in Africa. It doesn't matter. The range of the Siphene is like 4,000 yards. You need to be really careful, and you guys need to be hitting this. There's a setting in your interface under nameplates or combat that allows you to turn this on. You need to see this nameplate of the Siphene, otherwise you'll never kill it. And it will channel on you for, I think, a good 6 seconds. And it will reduce healing. It's an MS effect, a huge MS effect, and it just does so much damage. And that's what's so big about it. So as soon as this happens, we start screaming at each other, Siphene, 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 Siphene. And I'm trying to, and for my first click, I miss. You actually do have to click or tab target. I try it again, and I finally get it off with the 3rd Earth Shock. Wasn't that good. But he does have the Earth Shield. As you can see, he has the Earth Shield here. I don't want to hit into him. You can actually see me hit him with an ability, and it just does nothing. Now I'm switching instantly to the Warlock. As you can see, mana pool wise, we're at about 60% mana. The Resto Shaman's out pretty much full, which is kind of shocking, but we again have been hitting into that Earth Shield. We've been trying to do CC setups. We haven't, kind of been full-blown pressuring. So now what we're saying is, dude, we got to go in. What do we do? What do we do? We're all grouped up back here. We're in Fell Fissures. It's not good. We're like, oh, we got to go. We got to go. We got to go in. We got to push on them. We got to push on them. We were doing so well when they pushed onto us, and they started to retreat. So let's go. And I'm like, all right, I'll do it. I'm in dog mode. I'm just ready to rock. I'm trying to heal myself up, top it up, dotting the pets. Always use the dot pets, because when you dot the pet, that's one more target for you to have Flame Shock up on. Super helpful for you to get as many procs as possible. Here you see the Shadow Priest casting VT. I kick that puppy. That's my job. I got to keep those VTs off. There are 3 VTs out. Not good. But now this is it. We put up the gate. We're going in. We're being aggressive. We have the gate in case we have to get out. We go around the corner again. We want to get those setups onto that Resto Shaman through stuns. One other thing to note, Havoc. It's a Destro Warlock favorite. what will happen is Havoc will be cast on you, and it's a curse, which means either Tiber or myself can dispel it. A lot of times I should dispel it on myself. It saves my healer the global. And so what it does is, what they'll do, and what I think he gets off here, is he'll Havoc one target, and then he will throw Mortal Coil on the other, and it makes us run into Narnia so that he can get free damage off or do peels. Now, if I can dispel the Havoc before the cast goes off for Mortal Coil, then I won't be. But here I literally fail by a millisecond, I think. Oh, not quite. But basically what just happened there was, see, he just used it now. And if I go back 5 seconds, you can see around the corner, I throw down the stun, I miss the stun, I go to Hex, he grounds it. Grounding Totem is scary. A lot of times it's easy to bait that through just fake casting if that's the only thing they have up and you don't get sheared. And now here, I am now, if you look positionally, my buddy's over here, I'm way over here, I'm in Narnia, but I have heals. I have self-heals. I told them I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. You have to communicate actively with your team to say, are you good, are you not good, you good, you're not good, you good, not good. And as you can see, the Reflect came up on Destro Warlock. I instantly just start spamming Purge. I have to get that off. And if I also get off other things from him, it's actually good. The Hot's not that big of a deal, but the bigger deal is the increased cast time on all cast bolt and all that jazz. So there's the Side Fiend out again. You can see it over here next to Shadow Priest. It's a MS effect, probably on Sir Latour. I am luckily without a VT, which makes me a good player for now. I take that down, and now I'm back. Now I'm focusing on the Destro Lock. He's way far from anyone else to connect on, but because he does not have the Earth Shield, this is a great opportunity for me to just start pumping damage. Our goal, our condition here, and from my perspective, anyone else can comment in the below if they think differently. Our condition is we need to be pumping damage into whoever doesn't have Earth Shield. We need to get them down. We need to start, and I don't know if it's an of the other team, or at least that's what's going to force cooldowns, personal cooldowns, and healer cooldowns, and we just have to run through those and get going. As you can see, the Resto Druid's Shaman's mana is so high right now. He hasn't really been doing anything. But now, yep, Shadow Priest is still way over here, keeping my team. You can see on the mini-map, holy shit, they're so far away. But it's okay. Now, I'm just hitting the Warlock. I'm just trying to, again, do pressure. And now, since he's back here and the healer's back here, I can always hit the healer and start to do a ton of damage to him. I am not too scared of a Destro Warlock alone, unless he went Roots. And he didn't, because he has Fell Fissure, and we know that. So I'm not really too scared. I should be able to line anything. Now, if this Destro Warlock took Roots, I don't think we would have won the push in game, because they would have been able to do a ton more control. But that's okay. So we're in here. We're in here hot. And I'm saying, guys, I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. I'll be okay. I stunned the S-Priest just to stop the damage. I'm healing myself. I'm in line of Tiber so that he can get some hots on me. You see he throws some hots on me. I'm just trying to run around, lining. I get Fire Ellie out. There's the VTs coming. I need to stop those. My shear's down. I'm just trying to do some damage. And again, the S-Priest is just so confident out there with Earth Shield. He's just able to run out there. I need to be throwing down. Oh, Fell Lord came out. I need to be throwing down the slow. I need to be throwing down the stun. Stone Totem goes down. I'm able to get it, and we're just start blasting the healer. Hero doesn't have Earth Shield. He got bashed by Tiber. Now we're just doing the damage. So the Earth Shield comes out. I instantly switch. I'm just like, he's at 50%, but you know what? I don't even care. I need to start doing damage. Side Fiend's out. Need to tap that. And then we got to start aligning those VTs. We need to start aligning that damage. And another great interrupt that LA Shaman has is the Thunderstorm. Using that ability, we're able to stop anything. Even if they have pushback resistance from that wall on that Destro Lock, we're able to knock him back, stop that immediately. Now again, this S-Priest is pushing and he doesn't have the Earth Shield, so now he's a viable target for us to hit. He's a little bit out of position. The healer still has the Earth Shield. We need to be pushing in as much damage as possible. Now the cast bolt's coming out, but it doesn't matter. We're able to line that without that root. The enemy team is trying to retreat towards a different pillar. We're just pushing and pressure. Lock out. I'm able to line see, I'm not even scared right now. Oh, he got 2 bolts out without Demon Soul. I'm not really too scared of that. It is just the raw pressure. Doing damage to S-Priest. Now, S-Priest, no shield. Now, I'm very excited about hitting that Resto Shaman. As soon as we went him, we started to get cooldowns. We started to get abilities. They popped Side Fiend defensively there. We were able to get, I don't know if Reflect came out. My Omnibar is not on right in this game, shamefully. I get the stun on the Lock, and I'm trying to line up some damage. As you can see, healer's at 30%. I don't even care, because he has Earth Shield on. It doesn't even matter. Now again, we are getting VT'd a lot. I'm not doing enough kicks on that. That is something that's a development point for me. Can't let them have 3 out. Can't let them get that for free. I need to be sharing that more and more. Let's see. you know, I was trying to see what I had sheared recently. He's keeping about 350k DPS, which is not good. My damage is a little low. I need to be putting pressure in. Now, what we're trying to do here is a setup of CC onto him and go back to either the Warlock or the Spriest. Warlock just used wall. He's a viable target since that wall is on a 3-minute cooldown. Now here, Tiber's getting a little low. Siphene was not used because it was used earlier for defensives. I got the shear out there early. I have stun totem in 20 seconds. We don't have a lot right now, and I just got bolted for free with reflect up. Now I know in this type of situation, it's probably easier for me to line than to purge. I need to be stopping those VTs. I got that one. Now again, what we realized again is we need to be pushing in. We need to be doing damage to the ones without the Earth Shield. Now there's Feral Lord coming out, trying to put the pressure on. He gets Earth Shield on himself. He's in the Feral Lord. We need to be switching targets. He's getting low, but he's going to start to line. So this is where we start hitting the other target. I start to get Earth Shock up. He gets so low into a clone low, and we try to get ready to line up some damage. He comes out. I try to line up the Ice Fury and start to pound him, but with that Earth Shield, and then now with Earthen Shield Totem and Link, we know he's fine. We need to be switching off to him to a different target. And so we're pummeling him now, but we really need to be switching targets, and you'll see us switch targets here because that Earth Shield is just so good against all of our damage proccing that. I get Havoc on myself. I instantly cast it off myself. Tiber, I don't know if you just saw that. I'm going to back up. Two things just happened. They got a little scared, and they started using abilities. I'm going to back up. As you can see, I'm about to get Havoced. I got Havoced. Now, I'm going to instantly, my next global should be to dispel that, or Tiber dispels me. Let's see. I dispelled it. You can see top left. And then, so the coil that's in the air is coming out. And then the other ability is Mind Bomb with 1 second left. If it pops, it will get all three of us in the center. And what you can see, I do get horrified. I didn't get the Havoc fast enough. And then the Mind Bomb gets dispelled before it goes off, saving us pretty much from defeat. You can see the Void Bolt coming out in the air. That was a sick dispel by Tiber, pretty much saving the team there. We would have surely had to use a ton of cooldowns. We just ran out of that totally fine. Now here again, I'm trying to get that Hex out. I get the full Hex out around the corner. There is a Flame Shock on him, which could break it. We're trying to pump in. We're trying to pump in on the S-Priest. S-Priest got Earth, got the rocks, as I always say, got the Earth Shield. I want to stop his casts. We got the wall out from the Warlock and the AoE stun. It's actually a really sick stun hitting the Warlock in his wall, so he cannot cast his damage. S-Priest is super low with Disperse Up. The Shaman is now, I've already used Hex. This is now a 3-second stun onto him. A ton of damage, a lot of pressure. They have no offensive pressure here. The way they're set up now is perfect for us to keep pressuring in. I have Stormkeeper available. I need to be popping that puppy and getting all the damage in. Now the rocks are still on S-Priest. Shaman doesn't have any rocks. He's already used a lot of cooldowns. We know that he is a viable target here. Now, we were running around. I should not have run around this side. This is actually a big mistake, and I'm trying to help work on my own positioning. I ran around this way to not get peeled by the range and try to meet the healer on the backside, but because he's casting these heals, I'm not able to shear him. And another great shear is that knockback, which is coming up in about 3 seconds. So he runs around the back of the corner, out of line. I'm just Chain Lightning, beasting him. I Earth Shock, which you can see will stun him for 2 seconds. And Tiber is yelling at this point, I got bash out, bash out, bash out. And that's when we knew this guy was toasted. I'm looking around for any types of peels. They're not really peeling anything. He gets about to be done. He gets bashed instantly, which is not even, actually it is DR'd, but it shouldn't be DR'd by Earthshock. So it's enough though. A 2-second stun on this. Warlock's peeling with Chaos Bolt. Probably maybe should have feared instead, but he just gets the floor wiped with him, and that's our W against the Warlock, the Destro, S-Priest, our Shaman. It's a really tough team for us. This game was this was probably one of our first times going with the strategy of just hit whoever doesn't have Earth Shield and let's push in on them. Let's be aggressive. A lot of times when we go against these teams, they're very aggressive towards us, and it doesn't really go as well. But in this case, in this session, we actually beat, I think, every single one of these teams that we went against. We went against this team a few times and some others. So it was really great. And actually, as you can see in my bars here, I actually went the wrong ability, so I was getting less Lava Burst procs than I normally would because I went Elemental Blast, so that was a huge error. But we were able to pull it off anyway, thanks to some sick plays that we just walked through now. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to play it back from about 30 seconds back, and you'll hear us what we're calling as we're finishing off that R Shaman. By the way, I always want to give a shout out to Tiber, Sir Latour, great games, Pancakes, Pyrotech, Pyrotic, and the Arsham. Thank you guys. It was a good game, Finns. So GG's, and we'll play you guys again when we back her up, and you'll hear us in the last seconds of this match.
That Earth.
Getting pats on them all.
Play smart.
Interrupted. I'm hexing him super low.
Okay, you're really far into. Okay.
I see. I'm lining. All right, I'm hitting. All right, I'm hitting the lock. Hitting lock. I got my own. Oh, I got it. Slow. I'm gonna hex. I'm gonna get hex. I got it. I got 7 seconds. 7 seconds.
Huge. Oh, Priest, I just got kicked.
I'm hitting Priest.
Do you shoot? Close home. Cool.
Okay, I'm fair. I'm a priest. There's a wall.
You get out without thing.
Again.
Damage.
Thunder Spriest.
Hitting for Shaman.
Yeah, me too.
Pretty full. You stand figuring me. It's fine. You guys keep pressure.
We're going around. Stormkeeper. Interrupted. I'm gonna Earth shock him.
Okay, bash up.
You did. Stop. I can't stop that one.
I'm showing they have artifact and bark and everything.
Nice shit.
And there it is. That's how we shut the doors on him. It was a great game, great match. About 2250, fun game too. I have to say, when we kind of figure stuff out, we try new things out, it feels so good to get the wins, especially against teams that we've been struggling with for a super long time. We've been struggling against Destro locks for kind of some time, and it has to do with just the amount of pressure they're able to get off when they're turreting and our ability to just line that stuff. So guys, this is my first commentary in a while. I want to get your thoughts. Let me know if you like this video. Let me know if you want to see more of these, and I will see you in the next one. Let me know what other comps you want me to show, how we're going against those teams, and the strats that we're using. I really appreciate everybody. Please like, sub, comment, all that jazz, and I will see you guys in the next one.